Om Bhairavaya Namaha. Om Hingulambikaya Namaha. Om Kamakyaya Namaha. Om Hingule Paramahingule Amritarupini Tanushakti Manashiveshri Hingula Namaha. Namaskaram. Welcome to yet another video of our Ishtartha Guru Bhairava, where we will try to take one step closer to our Ishta. So today the topic is about Dashamaha Bhairava, the Swarupa which is unknown to the external world, and there are certain context when it comes to the truth as well as not of all truth. What I mean to say that is, many scriptures as well as Puranas talks in a different specification, but there are certain evidential information, especially in the Tantra, and which is in Kashmiri Shaivism stories, Skanda Purana, as well as Kaula Tantra, which gives a very detailed articulation of the information of the Bhairava Swarupa, which we are going to talk today. This is unspoken. This is the Swarupa as Dhumavata. I believe you would be knowing about Dhumavati Mahavidya. Dhumavati Mahavidya is actually the part of Mahavidya. Similar, Dhumavata Bhairava, it is a shadow of a sacred smoke. Dhumavata is nothing but the shadow of a sacred smoke. Here we will talk about Bhairava as a Dhumavata Swarupa as well as Dhumavati Mahavidya from a Mahavidya perspective, but not completely, but understand how exactly these are connected. See, in the world of Tantra, not all are truth or beautiful. So some are raw, fierce, and hidden in the smoke. And that particular hidden smoke, whichever lies a luminous form of one who is beyond the time, is Dhumavata Bhairava. He is a mysterious guardian of all lost mantras, the concept of feared yet compassionate Dhumavati Ma. Dhumavati Ma is actually being considered as one of an old woman. So basically she drew the on crow. Here in Mahavidya, it has its own importance. So we'll, rather than actually talking more about Dhumavati Ma, you would be knowing it. But today we will try to touch about how exactly they are consort each other, because they have different version of storylines when it comes to the Dhumavati Ma. See, let's understand this. There is a forgotten gods in the smoke. Among all the 10 Swarupas of Mahavidya and all 10 Swarupas of Bhairava, Dashamaha Bhairava, Dhumavata Bhairava is the most esoteric as well as a rarely spoken. I believe many of them have not even know about them at this particular Swarupa at all, because he is the fifth among the Dashamaha Bhairavas. He is a hidden in the mystery of the fire, as well as he is a crocked into a sacred Dhuma, smoke. In Dhumavata Tantra, one of a few spoken Tantra tradition or a spoken verses, there is a beautiful manifestation about the particular Bhairava Swarupa in the Dhumavata Swarupa. In Dhuma, it has been considered as Dhuma, a smoke, revealing him not as a terrifying god, let me just tell you, but as a very flame of knowledge and the silence beyond every sound, because you know that every sounds come from silence and every sound goes into the silence. So he is a start and he is the end. And very flame of the knowledge, he is actually the swarupa of the complete knowledge of entire cosmos. And his silence is such a way that even in that silence we can hear a sound. So in the popular I believe most of you, whoever are hearing this, would be knowing about Dhumavati Mahavidya. See, Dhumavati Ma is said to be a widow, representing a inauspicious. In many of the storylines, it has been said that actually whoever prays to them, their family lines or the sadhana they are going through will be more into subtle, as well as they are actually going out of the comforts, and they will be make sure that actually they will be isolated. It is being somewhat considered as inauspicious and unwanted in the Mahavidya. Trust me, it is a myth and it is a wrong information. Unless Dhumavati Ma comes into our life, it is like more subtle and more important for her, because she is the maturity, the knowledge of the maturity. She whispers otherwise. The ancient text has in a different way of context when it comes to, but in Tantra, it is somewhat um, closely articulated into a specific realms where each Mahavidya has been connected to one particular of Bhairava Swarupa, which gives us a very clear quotation stating that how exactly we as a sadhakas would be benefited or get more involved into the sadhana padati, which will make us one step closer to them. Here, Dhumavati and her eternal beloved Dhumavata. We need to know about this context perspective. A few lines of information actually we can find it from the Shiva Purana. Okay, and in Tantra Shastra, especially in Shastra Pramodha Dhumavata Tantra, Shastra Pramoda Dhumavata Tantra, Dhumavati is not a widow. It is clearly been articulated. Scriptures will clearly claims that Dhumavati Ma is not a widow, and instead she is a eternal consort. As I told you, she is the consort of our Dhumavata Bhairava, and that Bhairava is in the form of well-known Swarupa for every one of us. I would believe you would be having a guess. You would not be even thought about it. Dhumavata Bhairava, the Farsi form of Vatuka Bhairava. Yes, Vatuka Bhairava, once he grows up, it has been considered that actually once he actually, there is like a kid of 8 years, we normally see the Vatuka Bhairava, but he would not remain in the same consciousness. It is actually the consciousness which is evolving, and that's where actually he is being also said as Dhumavata Bhairava. The union is not physical, let me just make you clear, but a deeper alchemical expression, the marriage of a void of fire, okay, or the we can call it as like smoke of soundlessness, or we can call it as like more into a Shaivism as well as a Shakta. We can tell like Shakti and Shiva beyond the duality. So what we need to understand here is Dhumavati Ma arises from Dhumavata. She is not alone. She is a shadow. She is a flame. She is a echo. She is a silence. And all those silence, echo, and flame has come from Dhuma. And Dhuma is none other than Dhumavata. And Dhumavata is our Guru Bhairava. He is in turn worshipped her and she worships him. Like in the Tantra, especially as I told you, in Pramoda Dhumavati Tantra, Shastra Pramoda Dhumavati Tantra, it is mentioning that she is ever impressed at the feet of Vatuka Bhairava, the radiant flame of Rudras. In all the 11 forms of Rudras, One particular form Swarupa is also called as an Bhairava. And it has been mentioned that in the verse that she is ever impressed at the feet of the Vatuka Bhairava. Whoever prays to the Vatuka Bhairava, she is always being with them in the silence, as a flame, as a knowledge. She will always be there. That's the reason. Always when it comes to the sadhana paddhati, once we happen to complete our adhara of 144 days of sadhana paddhati, we always tell to go to the Vatuka Bhairava sadhana, because that is an immense domain. You will not even uh, we juggling between the swarupa is something different. Let me just tell you, pulling daiva pulling to you and making you to make aradhana of that particular swarupa is something different. But you juggling between one particular swarupa to the other swarupa, which will always make you confused. But Vatuka Bhairava is Sampurna Guru Swabhava, because he came to the existence with the creation to make the creator to understand that what exactly the creation need to be done. Here, how exactly Dhumavata Bhairava, or let's consider like this: who is Dhumavata Bhairava in Tantra? We have never heard this in the Vedic way when it comes to the Bhairava. Dhumavata Bhairava, I believe most of you would not be heard about this, but in the Tantra tradition, especially in Kaula and Karmapat, Dhumavata Bhairava, Karmapat especially, I'm talking about Shastra Pramodini Dhumavata Tantra. Okay, here Dhumavata Bhairava is not merely the form of Shiva. It's not only merely the form of the Shiva. He is a inner fire of the Vatuka Bhairava's principle. Here we need to understand not as a story context as who is father, who is mother, who is actually the son. If you go in that particular sequence, normally you will be losing the essence of the Tantra. Okay, in the Tantra tradition, especially, you need to know omnipresence or the Swarupas actually will be splitted in simultaneously in a multiverses where actually the everything goes in the same time. Similar is what actually Dhumavata Bhairava Swarupa is all about. It is not merely the Shiva Swarupa, it is a inner hidden fire of the Vatuka Bhairava. See, while Vatuka is known for being a young, okay, 8 years young guy, wrathful, he's a wild form of the Bhairava Swarupa. Here, Dhumavata is the smoke bodied flame. Smoke actually is the form of the silent, we can call it as FOCT, or a mixture, or perfect balance of the inner connection, inner detachment. So, balance between the attachment and the detachment. As we all are being the sadhana of Bhairava, we know that actually how to juggle between the materialistic as well as a non-materialistic state, somewhat like a external as well as internal responsibilities, inner detachment, external detachment, inner silence, external silence, perfect balance. All of the Bhairava sadhakas would be knowing it. If you have done a sadhana for the couple of years, you would be in this particular situation. This is where actually the particular swarup of the daiva which will be activated, that is in the form of a smoke body. Every form of smoke inside which rises silently is none other than Guru Bhairava, the Dhumavata Bhairava. He is a lord of we can call it as twilight, or we can call it as Kalingi, Sandhya Kalingi. Okay, what is that? It is like a light of sparkle appearing between the knowing and the unknowing, form and formless. This particular Swarupa of Bhairava is so esoteric that actually just by closing your eyes, as each sadhaka can feel the smoke, the essence of the knowing and unknowing simultaneously, it means that actually the Dhumavata Bhairava is active with you and making you aware. In Tantra, such state of considering of knowing unknowing, or a form and the formless, is considered as a most potent moment. Like we can call it as a awakening Shabara Vidya, um, in a crudest form, if I want to tell, activating the Vamachara sadhana, or activating something like Rahasya Siddhi. See, what is Vamachara and Rahasya Siddhi? Don't go with the words actually like Vamachara. It does means that actually we are going to do harm someone. No, Rahasya Siddhi. No, it is not like Rahasya is a secret. Siddhi is actually the knowledge. Here, secret knowledge, like even knowing about one step closer to the Daiva, is also Rahasya Siddhi. Even knowing about your breath, Vijnana Bhairava, Tantra, or Nadi Vidya is also a Rahasya. Every Guhya information which is written in the Tantra, which will be opened up. One by one, you will get to know. Shabara Vidya, this is called Shabara Vidya. Every one of us in the path of Bhairava, they will get to know about this, because when you get the preparation to the ultimate to the Devi, you are supposed to have the Adhara. Or else, as I always tell, it is like a window shopping, or it will be like a always juggling between one Swarupa to the other Swarupa, or it will be somewhat like you will not be able to hold her unless you have a complete strong base of Adhara, and that Adhara is none other than Guru Bhairava. And here we are talking about his Sukshma Swarupa of Dhumavata, the beautiful essence of formless to unformed, to knowing to unknowing, the fire to the unknown fire hidden inside the every sadhakas. See, basically, from a Vatuka Bhairava perspective, we can call it as Tariya Bhairava or Shabara Vidya. He is actually Tariya Bhairava or a Shabara Vidya guardian. Vatuka Bhairava is not a singular deity. Let me just tell you, it is being misunderstood in the Tantra, or in the many scriptures it has been understood that it is he is a small Swarupa, he is actually young Swarupa, and he is actually a starting point of all the Tantra Vidya. Don't be in that mythological delusions, because there are certain sacred stotras as well as mystical stories which are connected to the Vatuka Bhairava. He is the Sampurna Guru Bhairava Swarupa, because in what we call it as Tariya Bhairava, he is a Tariya means he is we can call it as confluence of three cosmic functions. Okay, Triya, not Triya, Tariya Bhairava. Tariya Bhairava is actually a combination of three gunas as Triguna Bhairava. Similar to that, Tariya Bhairava is actually a combination of three gunas. Viranchi Vatuka Bhairava, Mukunda Vatuka Bhairava, Rudra Vatuka Bhairava. Here, what we need to understand is Virachi Vatuka Bhairava is the creator's Swabhava, Brahma Swabhava, because he is the teacher for the creator. He is the guru for the creator. Viranchi Vatuka Bhairava, Mukunda Vatuka Bhairava, the preserver, same like Vishnu, he actually protects every sadhakas. Whoever prays for him, he will always be there for them. Rudra Vatuka Bhairava, similar to Paramashiva, he also has something called as the knowledge of destruction. The destruction of the ego, the destruction of the self, the destruction of the pride. All these things can be considered as destruction, creations of the inner Swabhava. The creator, the preserver, as well as the destroyer. He is Tariya Bhairava. Tariya Bhairava is Vatuka Bhairava's complete Purna Swabhava or Purna Prakruti. See, together actually we can call him in the form of Trimurti Bhairava. Okay. Viranchi Bhairava, Mukunda Bhairava, as well as a Rudra Bhairava. We call him as a Trimurti Bhairava. And this is actually somewhat like a cyclic of existence. Entire creation around us is actually governed by these three activities: the creators, the preserver, as well as the destroyer. And all these things are embedded into one particular form of Swarupa, Trimurti Bhairava, And the Trimurti Bhairava is referred as Vatuka Bhairava, and Vatuka Bhairava's Swarupa is none other than Dhumavata Bhairava. In Dhumavata Bhairava, in the essence of Tantra, of this Vatuka Swarupa, he guards, or we can call it as he guards or he shields the most secret Sabra mantra. There is no need to tell about how exactly Sabra mantra has come into existence. It is all about Kashmiri Shaivism as well as Abhinava Gupta, who was one of the greatest saint in the Yuga, who actually made Tantra available to the existence of the people as ordinary as what we are. There, one particular mantra, which is of Sabar mantra, it is a secret, it is a kilakam. He is actually holding that kilakam. Whenever the particular Vatuka Bhairava in the Dhumavata Bhairava Swarupa, Aradhana has been done. The Tantra essence of Vatuka is simple. He holds the key of the secrets of Shabara mantra. Those wild, powerful spellings, whatever we have it, do not have any kind of a function without any normal spiritual boundaries. It is a normal talk. Sabra mantra, you maybe have heard about it. Normally, people think that Sabra mantra need to be spoken in only one way. No, Sabra mantra is actually a common word which has been articulated. Even there are a complete story which talks about the Abhinava Gupta, where he went with his 1108 followers to a cave, and he ensured that he recited one particular Sabra mantra which made entire 1008 people to get merged into the cosmos. Maybe that particular story, we will talk about that in the detailed story about the Sabra mantra. But here what I am trying to tell you is, here Dhumavata Bhairava governs the secrets of Shabara mantra. According to the Kaula Tantra, without Vatuka Bhairava Swarupa Aradhana or Dhumavata Bhairava Swarupa Aradhana, the chanting of Shiva or Shakti, any Swarupas of Shakti, is also incomplete. So, we can tell like this: he is the one who ignites the mantra with the life. Without his grace, even the sound of the divine will not bear the fruits. So he is none other than our Guru Bhairava, Dhumavata Bhairava. What we need to understand here is, there are certain untold informations. Like, let's understand, when it comes to the 10 folds of the flames, Dhumavata Bhairava, he actually created himself into 10 different Swarupas. As I told you, Sabra mantra, he actually shields the Sabra mantra. Similar to that, in the Kaula Tantra, it has been conveyed into a beautiful articulation, like both cosmic. He is actually both cosmic guardian as well as inner psychological gates which governs us. He holds that particular Swarupas. Like, we can call it as Hituka Bhairava, like or Hetuka Bhairava. Hetuka Bhairava is somewhat like, he is the reason for all the reasons. First Swarupa of Dhumavata Bhairava is Hetuka Bhairava. He is the reasons for all the unknown reasons. He is the reason for all the known reasons. Next is Tripurantaka Bhairava. Here, Tripurantaka is a Rakshasa. I believe you would be knowing about the stories. Many people have heard about this mythological stories. He is a slayer of that particular Asura, Tripurantaka. So only he got this particular name as Tripurantaka Bhairava. The third form is Agni Betala Bhairava. Agni Betala Bhairava. Agni is somewhat like a flame beyond the psychological deities. Okay, he cannot be understood with particular word or name. Agni Betala Bhairava is somewhat like very, very potent radiating swarup of Bhairava. That particular tattva of the Bhairava, which is called as Agni Vetala Bhairava. There is a fourth particular swarupa from the Dhumavata Bhairava is Yama Jivvaka. Yama Jivvaka Bhairava. Here, Yama Jivvaka is somewhat like swallowing. Jivvaka is actually tongue. Jivvaka means he swallows. One who swallows even the death is the Bhairava. Yama Jivanka Bhairava. Jivanka is like pulling the entire source of life into him. That is Yama Jivanka Bhairava. The fifth swarupa of Dhumavata Bhairava is this particular is Kalakya Bhairava. Kalakya or Kalakya Bhairava. Kalakya is also is been referred to his name. Because here what we need to understand is even Kala Bhairava, not a particularly Kala Bhairava. Kalakya Bhairava is, he is above the time. Which time? Known, unknown, both the times. The sixth Swarupa is Karala Bhairava. Karala is somewhat like the terrible and the fierce, or we can call it as Bhayankara, Ugra Swarupa. That is Karala Bhairava. Seventh Swarupa of Dhumavata Bhairava is Ekapada Mahashiva. This is particular Swarupa, one-legged cosmic yogi. He is actually stands as a one-legged cosmic yogi. He is Ekapada Mahashiva. There is one particular Swarupa of Dhumavata Bhairava in this particular. These are the particular gunas which was been activated from certain sages. Ekapada Mahashiva. Okay. There is eighth form, Bhima Rupa Bhairava. Terrifying embodiment. He is a Bhayankara Swarupa. You cannot even imagine how exactly he is fierce. Normally the images whatever we see today in the social media or the AI generated one, most of them are connected to this. Okay, he is also referred as Bhima Rupa Bhairava because he has that strength, that energy to withhold everything. The ninth Swarupa is Nilamba Mahamuni. Nilamba Mahamuni, the sourceless, self-born. It is some like he has born without any Adhara at all. Somewhat like Adhara Rahita, he has come into existence. Even logically thinking about that is impossible. That's how actually the Bhairava Swarupa or Guna has been recited in the Tantra, which is encapsulated into the form of, into the information, which is very, very secretive. And when it comes to the Sagar Mantra, which has never been disclosed to the outer world. Here, the 10th Swarupa of Dhumavata Bhairava is Badavana Bhairava. Badavala. It is actually, Badavana means actually we call it as poor person. Badavala means actually, there is some, Badavana is actually somewhat like, we can call it as from the local southern language, it is like a poor, the god of the poor. Another hidden secret of this particular Badavanala is actually somewhat like we can call it as the deep inside the sea, Samudra. There is one particular Agni Tattva which is always active, and that particular Agni is none other than Badavanala. Okay, that particular Agni Tattva inside the Samudra is Badavanala. Here he is actually very, very Ugra Swarupa here. Kintalu, we call it as Kintalu Ugra Swabhava. Kintalu is like very, very terrible. Okay, that fire is actually which can consume. We can call it also that fire is somewhat like, in a modern science, we can connect it to the what we call it as the ripples of the fire, which is hit into the lava of the earth, which ripples as, which creates even the tsunamis, is one of a simple example. Okay, whatever we get inside from from the sea, whenever we get the ripples very high, when there is a destruction happening into the cosmic level, and especially in the sea bodies, I believe you would be knowing about the science about the, especially from the tsunami perspective. This is what actually that particular guna is all about. Badavanala, Samudra Agni. This is also called as Samudra Agni. These 10 Bhairavas, okay, these 10 Bhairavas, no, in Dhumavata Swarupa, these 10 Bhairavas are said to govern the 10 directions of Dashadikpalaka of that particular Sabara mantra. Sabara mantra is somewhat like one who recites Sabara mantra. Your 10 sides of our aura will be actually guarded. It will be activated by specific cosmic zone. It will be active, and yet corresponding to any kind of a deeper inner consciousness realms can be opened up, and that can only happen once you know who is actually governing this. We know that Sabra mantra, but who is governing the Sabra mantra? Who is protecting the Sabra mantra? Who are the 10 different Bhairava Guna Tattva, which is always helping, guarding this entire cosmic zone of the Sabra mantra is none other than Guru Bhairavas Dhumavata Bhairava Swarupa. And this Dasha Dikpalaka Swarupa of the Bhairava is what we are gifted with. Maybe if you have heard till now, then I can tell you one particular story. Okay, the story of a Parvata Raja and Dhumavati. I believe you would be knowing Parvata Raja is actually the mountains. Okay, it happened in one of the less known episodes. Basically, this has been spoken in the Tantra Pramodini, where it is said that Dhumavati, okay, Ma Dhumavati actually appeared in the mountains in her most fierce form. That's where actually in Dashamahavidya also she has been evolved. In the Tantra Pramoda, Dhumavati Ma comes from the appears in the mountains. The mountains was actually governed and owned at that particular moment by King Parvata himself. Parvata is actually, his name is actually the king of that mountains. A divine being who more performed a greater penance to witnessing the fierce goodness. Normally, any kind of people of the sadhakas who wants to go and do any kind of a sadhana on the higher realms, it is always said that actually they go to the higher levels. You see any kind of an ashramas, the mountains always are on the top of it. Reason is the consciousness is always on the Sahasrara, not in the Muladhara. Muladhara is somewhat like we being in a practical world of a Kali Yuga, and Sahasrara is somewhat like being in a Kali Yuga, taking your consciousness to the highest level, taking the peak to perform a greatest penance to witnessing the mercy of the Daiva into our life is actually the peak, what we take it. Here, when Parvataraja, when he was offered himself in the devotion, he was trying to sit and do a meditation and get into his consciousness level to the next level. Here it happened like in that particular moment, the particular guna of that situation of his while he was sitting, the sky was roaring because Dhumavati was actually Dhumavati's essence was active in the Dhumavata Bhairava Swarupa. Dhumavata Bhairava was actually laughing in that particular situation when Parvata Raja was trying to sit and do the meditation and raise his consciousness to the next level. He is a smoke. Once you keep such kind of a smoke of Irsha, that is actually, it is me, it is I am the top of everything. The ego, when it is spiked up, you will always be in the Muladhara. And that is where actually Dhumavata Bhairava came and along with the Dhumavati, he was laughing. The smoke of being evolved into that mountains. Even if you see the mountains is surrounded by smoke. And it has been said in the Tantra Pramodini that the smoke of the mountains is none other than Dhumavata Bhairava. He can be seen, he can be, but he is unknown to the known. This particular Dhumavata Bhairava, when actually in the Swarupa of the smoke, being evolved into that mountain, Dhumavata appears in the cloud as a flame when the Parvata Raja was meditating or doing penance himself, doing sadhana. Here, Dhumavata, and when he appeared, along with him, Dhumavati Ma also appeared in the flame of the mountain along with the Dhumavata. This is actually a cosmic merge. She offered her blessings not as a widow. She offered her blessing not as a widow, but as a queen of the hidden flames of every inner sadhaka or every individual person in this existence. Everyone has something called as an inner hidden informations which is never been disclosed to anyone. The smoke, the hidden smoke inside us, which is always unknown to the knower. This is what actually she was able to do. She was able to bestow the Parvata Raja as a queen of the hidden flames. It has been beautifully been articulated, like when she actually came into that particular Swarupa and actually was bestowing to the Parvata Raja, she told that whatever your smoke arises from the depth of your heart, there I shall dwell. I will come and reside there and make sure that whatever that the smoke of unknown is there, I will make it as a clear. But it is Dhumavata that my fire is being active. Unless you active Dhumavata, the creator's creation, the unknowns known, your connection towards the penance or to the sadhana is always lowering. Because once you do any kind of a sadhana, you always have something hidden. Maybe you may be writing something else, but trust me, you will be having something actually inside you which will be making you to always be in a fire. That's where Dhumavati Ma comes not only to the Parvata Raja, for all of us of his sadhakas. She is always telling us she is ready to actually clear all that flames inside all of us, the smoke arising in us, and there shall she will come and dwell there. But first of all, you need to activate Dhumavata, and that Dhumavata is the fire. And that's where actually Parvata Raja, the mountains, the king of the mountains, he actually went to the cremation ground. He moved out from the comfort zone, went to the cremation ground, did the intense inner sadhana. That was who he seeked as Shabara Vidya. Shabara Vidya is somewhat like we can call it as tantric knowledges. Okay, must offer devoted to the both to Dhumavatama as well as Dhumavata Bhairava, where Dhumavati Mahavidya as well as Dhumavata Bhairava, where they resides there, and with the help of Shabara Vidya, he was able to get enlightened, and then that's where actually he becomes subtle. You know that actually there are certain stories, even Shiva Purana as well as in Devi Purana, that mountains used to walk, mountains used to move. The fix, or we can call it as his Swarupa, changed when this particular episode happened. When Dhumavati Ma made realize the Parvata Raja that your inner jiva or inner irsha can be dissolved only with the help of Dhumavata Bhairava. Once your inner smoke get moved as a knowledge, that's where actually you get settled. That's how actually the mountains got settled. This is the storyline. See, don't go into a practical approach as like whether mountains used to walk. No. In the Sanatana Dharma, all the five elements are being considered as the gift, as a boon for the humankind. Or we can also call it as five elements which is outside, which is also inside, which is making us aware that we are part of the nature. Always make sure that logics are good only for the practical purpose. Here it is above the logic. Coming back to the story, she was a Shakti in her most raw and unadorned form. the queen of the rejection. Dhumavati Ma is considered as the queen of the rejection, the mother of all that remains. After the world has turned to ashes, the ultimately who resides is Dhumavati Ma. This is it. Even the part of Dashama Vidya, you would be knowing it. She has no consort in the eyes of the world. In the Vedic way, she doesn't have any consort because everyone has burnt, and everyone are ashes. Here, the burn and the ashes is none other than Guru Bhairava Swarupa, the Dhumavata Bhairava. But in Tantra, she belongs to only one particular Swarupa, belong only to him, and that is Dhumavata Bhairava. See, here what we need to understand is when it comes to the Dhumavati Ma, the world has always misunderstood her. Okay, like even it is one of a storyline which happened in a small storyline. A Rishi first actually beheld Dhumavati Ma. They saw her riding a crow. She was actually riding a crow and wrapped in the smoke. She was Dhumavata. She was wrapped in the smoke. Her eyes is like a storm clouds, and the Rishi declared, all the Rishis saw her in this particular Swarupa, declared that she is inauspicious, a widow, a outcast among all the goddesses. But they knew not her as a secret. Here again, I'll tell you, all Vidya has two faces, as the coin has a two faces, known, unknown. Here it is known because it has made the external appearance as a proof of information has been articulated to the external world. But when it comes to the Guhya Vidya or the Tantra Vidya, it is in a different level of understanding. When the particular Rishi told that actually like she is inauspicious, she is a widow and outcast among all the goddesses, Dhumavati Ma laughed and echoed across the times of all the realms. And she said that what you call as widowhood, I call the freedom. She doesn't bound with anyone. She is not bounded with the samsara. She is not bounded with a particular rituals which need to be done as 1, 2, 3, 4. After that 4, 4, 5, 6. No, she is not bounded. She is in a freedom. What you call it as a hungry, I called a desire for the truth. People are hungry to go into the and identify the truth. And that hungerness is none other than activating your Dhumavati Tattva. What you call as a shadow is an echo of the flame within me. And Dhumavati Ma was trying to share us that particular flames, whichever you are trying to see, is I always get merged to Dhumavata Bhairava. And the Dhumavata Bhairava emerges from the horizon of the flame. Particular when Rishi was able to tell all this thing, and even Devi was able to tell him about this, in that particular smoke, as I told you, that particular echo of that smoke, Dhumavata Bhairava appeared. Without her, I am only a fire. He was very clear. He told that without Dhumavati Ma, I am only a fire. With her, I am a smoke. I am a sound, I am a breath, I am being. You know that actually once the fire is there, smoke will come. And once there is a smoke, there is a fire. This is none other than Dhumavati Ma and Dhumavata Bhairava. See, there is a very, when it comes to the Sabra Mantra, most of us will get connected to the Nath connections. See, talking about the Nath connections, we just need to understand how exactly they have bestowed or gifted this humankind. See, Navanathas, we call it as Navanathas. He was one of the greatest saint in the Tantra as well as Yoga in the Nath community. Navanathas, okay? 9 particular guna he was trying to have it. He is revered as actually the Dhumavata Bhairava. They knew that actually Shabara Vidya was very, very secretive because the wild and the powerful stream of the mantra practice along with the awakened during his guidance was active by the Navanatha. And whatever we have, the Natha community, this is where in the Nath community, he's so much been uplifted now to know about what the gems of informations he has left for us. In the Tantra as well as Yoga, he was a person to make us to aware that there is one particular Dhumavata Swarupa which is hidden inside and taking care the secrets of the Shabara Vidya, the powerful stream of the mantra practices. Okay, it doesn't mean that actually you go read the Sabar mantra from the YouTube, hear it. Just hearing it will be helpful. Trust me, Sabar mantra has to be given by the gurus. Similar to the Bijakshara mantra, Sabar mantra has to be also be given by the gurus, because Sabar mantra doesn't have a consequences or the tailed line of lyrics. It is somewhat like few of them actually pronounce it in a different way. Few of them pronounce it in an appropriated stop and merge way. As I told you, it is a rhythm. The Sabra mantra is of the mantra recited in the common words, and there is a rhythm, and that rhythm will differ by each individual sadhakas and each individual lineage of the guru which you belong to. Even Goraknath, okay, is said that actually he meditated in the cremation ground and he chanted the mantra of Vatuka Bhairava. Once he chanted Vatuka Bhairava to come into his existence and support him into get his Tantra Sadhana to the next level. He was the first to get support for him. If you know about the Goraknath today, Goraknath Maharshi, it is only because of Vatuka Bhairava Swarupa. He is a sacred smoke offered by Dhumavati herself. Try to understand the connection between Vatuka Bhairava as well as Dhumavata Bhairava. Without involving Vatuka Bhairava, Dhumavata Bhairava, no Kaula Tantra initiation or mantra takes effect. So basically, even in the Tantra, when this is the stages, we always tell Vatuka Bhairava is everything. Do his aradhana for the couple of mandalas, you will have such a adhara that actually the smoke inside you, the gunas which you was supposed to drop will always make sure it get dropped. And even in Dashama Vidya, it doesn't mean that actually you need to start with Kali, go with Tara, go with Tripurasundari, then Bhuvaneshwari. No. As I told you, all this happened in a multiverse in simultaneously. It has been said that once the sadhaka sit for the sadhana, leaves every of his ego thought, Irsha, when he drops the Irsha of knowing, acquiring and making himself the knower, when he drops that Irsha, he is being supported by Vatuka Bhairava in the Dhumavata Swarupa. This has also happened even to the Nath, Goraknath, as well as the Navanathas, the great masters of the Tantra as well as the Yoga. They also disclose the same thing. Like this particular recitation of this particular Sabra mantra, initiation or the mantra takes very full effective when Vatuka Bhairava is completely active. He is invisible currently behind all the powers. When it comes to the electricity, do we see electricity? No, right? Unless we touch it, we never feel it. Similar is that what we are talking about. He is an invisible current behind all the powers. Vatuka Bhairava, Dhumavata Bhairava Swarupa is always like an invisible power. And the Natha Sampradaya especially made this particular Devata Swarupa like he is a life force of a Kaula Marga. Vatuka Bhairava, Dhumavata Swarupa is a life force for the Kaula Marga because it is a hidden information. Unless you drop that Irsha, that something is smoke inside you, unless that is not been converted as a fire. Because when Dhumavati comes, Irsha actually she creates. And unless that Irsha is being converted into the fire of the knowledge, it is always dangerous. It cannot happen. Here, Dhumavati is not the sorrow. She is a truth without decoration. Dhumavata is not the fear. He is a flame that reveals only to the fearlessness. We as a sadhakas, we need to understand that together Dhumavati Ma in the Mahavidya as well as a Dhumavata Bhairava in the Dasha Mahavidya Swarupa, we need to understand together they burn away the delusions and leave only the existence of the awareness in the sadhaka's life. There is a union in not the physical. Let me just tell you, it is not the union of the physical. It is a tattva, the energetic, the mystical. The sadhana who or a sadhaka who realize this entire the state of dhuma turiya. Dhuma turiya is like reaching the from the smoke to the turiya state where the sound, silence, form and formless energies merges. That's where actually a true hidden wisdom is being encapsulated. And in Vama Marga, this is this is made as unknown, but unless to know the unknown, you need to be the part of known. What we need to understand, the secrets within the smoke, what we need to understand here is Dhumavati Ma is not about loss. She is a smoke after the flame. What remains after everything is consumed? Dhumavata. Dhumavata is the flame itself and the burning grounds where ego or the pride, knowing of everything dies and the truth is born. That's where is a secret of every smoke. And together, here what we need to know is together they show the aspirant of the path. There is not for the fainted hearts. Tantra is not for the fainted hearts, but for the sincerity. If you are really sincere and want to grow knowledge in the unknown of the known, then Tantra is the only marga. And from here to make that smoke and to make the flame active, that's where Dhumavati Ma as well as Dhumavata Bhairava comes into picture. See, let me just tell you, if you have heard the call of Dhumavati, know that Dhumavata is already watching you. If any one of you are watching till here and feel that actually you know about Dhumavati Ma and you know about that actually you have done the Mahavidya sadhana and you have done the Mahavidya, especially Dhumavati's way, make clear that in Dhumavati Ma, know that actually Dhumavata is already watching. He is the wish to treat this path. Go first to the flame. Smoke will come later. And seek the shadow behind it. For in this shadow lives the light eternal energy, and that is none other than Dhumavata Bhairava. And here, what we all should know is this is all of us in one or the other way. It is a task for all of us that actually we need to go into the phases. We all will come into this particular phase to know about this particular secret. But when you want to lose yourself, lose your smoke, unless that smoke is getting converted, she is a smoke after the flame. What remains is everything is consumed, and that consumption, ashes, and that particular shadow is Dhumavata Bhairava. So maybe with that note, today we'll take a leave. We'll come out with one more Dashamaha Bhairava Swarupa, talking about you about this information. As we are very close to the Gupta Navaratri, there is certain sadhana informations which are being shared in the Telegram group. If you feel that actually you can be part of that, because trust me, you cannot talk about Devi unless you are completely ready. Okay, and if you feel that actually you need to perform it, you can just check on the Telegram group. The link has been given below. Complete details of the sadhana paddhati is being open to the external world, all of you. It's always I tell, Bhairava and Devi is not for sale. Diksha, consecration, I or never in the Daivanugraha we charge anything. It is only between you, him. It will be between you and Ma that what you need to do. We as a seva we are trying to do. If you want to consume it, consume. If you feel that actually it is heavy for you for the digestion, then it's your call. So you can just check the below description where actually we have provided the Telegram group details where you will be having the Sadhana Paddhati for the Gupta Navratri starting from 26th to 4th July, 26th June to 4th July, we will be having the Gupta Navratri. And this Navaratri is very, very special for all the sadhakas because it takes one step closer to the Daiva, one step closer to the Ma. Unless you have done the Bhairava sadhana, doing the Navaratri, Gupta Navaratri sadhana, which will make you to the next level of knowledge and the connection between you. This expression cannot be expressed unless you really feel those expressions, because talking about them, knowing about them, listening about them is only a gift, and that gift can only happen when they feel that we are ready to have those knowledge within us. Maybe with that note, we'll take a leave today. Om Bhairavaya Namaha. Om Kamakyaya Namaha. Om Hingulambikaya Namaha. Om Kamakyavarade Devi Neelaparvatavasini Tvam Devi. Namaskaram.